So hi everyone, welcome to another tutorial. So this is the part 2 of the Docker tutorial that we started. So if you have missed the first video, please go back to the go and search for the first video that I made some weeks back. So we are going to be talking about Docker, but this time around we want to talk about Docker Compose. So Docker Compose allows you to develop applications locally, and it also allows you to run a lot of dependencies as well. So for instance, so if you are building like a very big application and you need to have your database up and running, you need to have Redis or introduce some caching system or any other services you need to do, you can actually use Docker Compose, which will start all these services. So the disadvantage with just using the Docker command line is that with the Docker command line, let me just quickly clear this thing. So with the Docker command line, you have to keep running this and you have to probably memorize this. All right, but using Docker Compose, you can actually put all your services, everything in one part, and whenever you run Docker Compose up, it's all your services comes up at the same time. All right, so an alternative way to using Docker Compose is using what we call Kubernetes, but it's not going to be covered in this video. So let's get right into it. Let's create a Docker Compose file. So don't forget that when we wanted to start our application, we actually run this with this, and this is our app. An application just gets started, so it's already in use. So we have our application running already, and the name of the container is bank app. So in order for us to see, we can say docker docker ps. So this gives you the bank app and it shows you that this is up and running. We can decide to stop this image and this container. So once you stop this container, docker stop bank app, so the container stops right away. Right, so when you do docker ps, the container is no longer showing. So right now, if you want to start the Docker file, we need to do this. But there was a challenge we had there, which is we wanted to have the reload reload functionality. So in a way, for you to be able to reload this application automatically as you code, you need to map it to the volume. So, and one way to do this is to do -v. All right, so you put the path to the local and you map it to the path with the container. All right, so what is the path to this local? So the path is usually like /home. So you need to, so for us to do this, let's get the path to this bank app. Let's do something like pwd. I think that should give us the path. So we can do this. So you can see how long this command looks like, and when you do -v, you copy this part here and put it there. So I don't want to go about I don't want us to worry about that. So let's use Docker Compose to do this. Now, for us to use Docker Compose, we need to create a new file called Docker Compose YAML, right? And so having a Docker Compose YAML file, we can then create our services. So it has its own syntax, so you have to specify the version. So we can just do version 3, and we come in here and do services, right? So we want this to be the bank app. Then we need to build. So we need to define a context to this, which is context dot, which means build everything in the . And for the container, for the image, the image we have using Docker is the bank app image, Why the container name? We need to specify a container underscore name to be equal to bank app as well. And I think that's basically it. So Docker Compose is very rich, it's declarative. You can actually put you can actually, what was I going to say? So it's very declarative. You can actually put some other functionalities like specify the environments, the volumes, and everything. So one thing we need to do is we need to restart, ensure that our application restarts always, and then we need to specify the volumes. So the volumes which we are going to use to map whatever it's local, which is everything on this in this particular file to the /app. Don't forget that we created the work directory with Docker using /app, so we need to use the /app directory here. And yeah, that's basically it. Then because we have a volume, we need to put it in a network. So all we need to do is to define the networks here, and in the networks we can give it any name, or we can specify the name of this particular service, right? So for the networks, yeah, we can give it any name. You can just say bank app underscore network underscore net, and we need to give it a driver of bridge. Okay, so let's see if this is going to work. I made a mistake here. And so we have our Docker Compose file. So rather than use Docker to do this now, we need to use Docker Compose to build this. So it's saying can't find a suitable configuration file in this directory, or any parent, are you in the right directory? So we need to have a Docker compose.yaml file. So it's not in here. So let's do a list, and so we have it. Oh, so I did not spell it well. Let's rename this now to Docker compose.yaml. Right, so we have that, and we need to define the services again. Okay, so we just need to put this here, and this should work out of the box now. So when you do Docker Compose build, so that should build the Docker so you can use the Docker build or the Docker Compose build. So but because we are using Docker Compose, everything now is going to be seamless, and all we need to do is Docker Compose up to start our container. Compose up. So this should start the container. So it's saying creating the network back with the default timer. So we have an error, cannot create container for service Docker. So it conflicts with the, so cannot create container for service bank app. The container name bank app is already in use by container this. You have to remove the container. So let's do Docker ps. We need to remove the Docker container. Docker remove Docker container remove bank app also. All right, Docker ps all. So the bank app container has been removed. So let's run the Docker Compose up again. Now we have a container that's up and running now. So yeah, so we have a container that's up and running. So let's verify that this is still working. So it no longer works anymore. So that's because we did not specify the port. So this is supposed to run on port 5000, but we need to map the port as well. So because we want it to run on port 7001, we need to map it, and the way to do this is after here you can put the ports, and in the ports put an hyphen. We want to map 7001 to 5000. So the 5000 is the container port that our application is running, so it's going to map that port to the 7001 port, which is the port that runs on our local machine. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to stop this now. Then we do the build again, docker compose build. So it's going to be fast because it has already pulled down the Python image, and docker compose up now. Alright, so let's see if we are able to access the container using this. So you can see everything works well because we have actually done a map. So what the issue we had and why we wanted to use Docker was that when we change this, if we change this back to hello max, this should reload. Can you see it's reloading? Because we have actually mapped, if I should reload this, we have actually mapped the files here to the files in the container application. All right, so now we have a container that is up and ready and is run. You can use docker compose to run. So another thing we need to do is the next step is we are going to be adding like a database to this docker container, and I will be showing you a very neat way to add a database to our application. Thank you for now. Another thing I want us to do is I don't want us to keep, so let me stop the container. I don't want us to keep using docker compose up, so let's just create like a batch file. So I'm going to be introducing like a batch file. All right, so now to do this we need to, let's just create a directory here. I don't want to call this the scripts. Let's call this scripts or bin. So create a bin directory and call this start.sh. so this will automatically start our container whenever we want to. So we can do like an echo starting backend containers containers, because we are going to have different containers that will be started, that we are going to start later on, and we can write our docker compose up -d. So our command, we just need to put that in here, and yeah, that's basically it anyways. So we can have like a stop in here, create a stop.sh, and yeah, we can put stopping this container. All right, so we can say echo echo stopping backend containers ... and then we can put our docker compose stop. Okay, so and that should stop all our containers. So let's see if this is going to work. So right now we are going to just use the sh command to run this sh bin/start.sh, and we should see our container starting up now, and everything is going to run in the background. So if we should do this, so we can see everything works out of the box, and we can use the sh stop.sh. so this will stop the container from running, and when you do this, you can see the container is no longer running. Yeah, so that's what I really wanted to show us. Thank you. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this video.